Hey guys, this is Aegis, and this is Game 6 between NrG and Infinity 7 in the American Pro League Grand Finals of Season 1. NrG's Malice is spawning over here as the green Zerg player, and his opponent wants a rematch. His opponent is going to be Infinity 7's Jekko, going to be playing as the red Zerg player here on Shakura's Plateau. Overlords are going to be scooting out across the map from both players right now. So NrG is currently down at 3-2, and in Infinity 7, if Jekko is able to take this game, they will win it 4-2. And we'll see if Malice is able to hang in there for this game and win it for his team so they can continue on to the ace match. Looks like a slight deviation here. A drone on the way at the same time as the Overlord for Malice, and a gas on the way for Jekko. Going to be doing that extractor trick, popping out an extra drone for the moment, and a couple more drones are on the way for Malice right now. Going to be getting those 3 drones out onto the field, and the Overlord here from Malice is going to be scooting out to the top side. Second Overlord from Jekko is headed over to the natural expansion. We'll see what kind of builds they decide to go for. Here comes the gas up for Jekko, and it looks like Malice is going to be saving up some money. He is headed towards that 15 drone count, will be going for his natural expansion. It's very easy to defend this natural expansion. It's a very narrow ramp here. You can easily throw down spine crawlers to defend your natural expansion. And here comes the drone scout, going to be moving out as he sees that there is a no Zerg over here in the top right hand corner. Drone scout from Jekko is also making its way in here. We'll see the natural expansion up for Malice, and we'll see what his response is. He does have the faster pool, however, well, he is mining the gas, so he will get the speed a little bit faster. We'll see how much pressure he's able to put on. This is a pretty tense time for both players. Malice is going to see in here that the pool and gas is coming up, so he'll have to defend against the Zerglings, and perhaps it will move into Banelings. We'll see him maybe go for a defensive Baneling nest after he gets his pull up. Well, it depends on what he wants to do. Maybe a couple of spine crawlers. We've got the gas now halfway complete for Malice. The Overlords are spreading over here. Jekko's Overlord is headed towards Malice's natural expansion, or just right outside of it, so he can keep watch over what units are coming out. Overlord from Jekko here going to be watching over the center pathway in the middle. A couple of Zerglings are going to be poking out here. 4 Zerglings out, and 4 more Zerglings on the way for Jekko, and 2 Zerglings on the way for Malice. He needs to get a couple more out onto the field so he can defend against this pressure that is incoming from Jekko. There are 6 Zerglings now advancing across the field. More Zerglings being produced by Jekko, so he's going to be putting up a lot of pressure here while grabbing his natural expansion. And here come the Zerglings into Malice's natural base. This is just like the first game, and there are Zerglings out in the field right now, so Jekko will be forced out of here. His few Zerglings going to be rejoining with a couple more over here, perhaps going to be going for a little bit more of a push here. Looks like they will be taking a break. A couple of Zerglings back at home at the natural expansion. Zerglings now poking into the natural of Malice. However, the green Zerglings are in position to be able to chase those red ones out. They do have speed, so they can run into the main, but it looks like the 2 queens on the ramp will prevent that from happening. The red Zerglings here taking a couple of hits from those green Zerglings. Looks like just enough to be able to chase those Zerglings out of here. And a Baneling's nest is now on the way for Jekko. Roachwarn coming up for Malice. More drones and Zerglings coming up for our green Zerg player. Let's look at the unit stat. Looks like Malice is ahead in terms of drone count. He is up at 17 against the 14 of his opponent. And Jekko is finally getting his natural expansion up. It's so delayed here right now. And Jekko here poking to the possible third with a couple of Zerglings going to be advancing across the map right now. Looks like Overlords here and Banelings here taking on a bunch of Zerglings from Malice. This is going to spell a lot of trouble. 2 Banelings going to be headed in here. All the Zerglings for Malice do fall. More Zerglings popping out over here. Going to be trying to deal with this push here. And Malice here producing 16 Zerglings at a time. Looks like all of his Zerglings have been cleaned up. The remaining 5 will be headed into the main. A Queen over here. Will she get picked off? The drone's getting pulled off the line. The Queen's health is getting down into the orange. Looks like the reinforcing lings do protect that. Queen will be down at 50-ish food. More Zerglings pouring in here for Jekko, but he does meet up with the superior ling count of Malice and will be forced back. Roach is now on the way for Malice. The reinforcing Zerglings look like they will not be advancing across the field. Roach is coming out. More drones being produced by our red Zerg player, but more drones have been mining for this entire time from Malice, so he will have an economic lead. Let's take a look at the income tab here. Just 60-ish minerals ahead. We're going to be going over here, and drones finally getting transferred back to the natural expansion. Roach is out in the field, will protect a little bit more against those Zergling run-bys. Zerglings now coming up here. Our green Zerg player needs to put those Zerglings into position lest those Zerglings run by. Here come the Roaches. Going to be taking a couple of shots off of there. One Zergling was very unfortunate to die on that ramp due to the acid. Spinecrawler on the way for Jekko. He's got 2 defensive banelings as well to prevent any sort of Zergling run by. It looks like one Zergling was able to make it into the main from Jekko. Malice is pulling ahead, about 15 food ahead of his opponent. Zergling is going to be taking a break over here at the possible 5th or 6th base for Malice. More Zerglings on the way for Jekko, so he's going to be building up quite the Zergling count. We'll see what he decides to do. Gas getting taken at the natural expansion by Malice. We'll be going for some tech in the near future. We'll see what he decides to go for. Another Spinecrawler up at the front for Jekko. Lair is now on the way for Malice, and he's also got an Evo Chamber on the way to be able to get those essential upgrades for those Roaches. Lair's about a third done for Malice. And the Overlord spread in the middle does allow Malice to see everything that is coming his way. A Roach Warren coming up for Jekko, going to be walling the front off a little bit to help the situation at the front, maybe prevent the Zerglings from running by as easily. The Spinecrawler also rerouting itself up at the front. Looks like the Roaches from Malice will be moving out across the map. He's going to be making a couple of Zerglings behind this, maybe to reinforce. He's got the missile attacks level 1 on the way for those Roaches. And over here on the other side, 16 Zerglings being made in response to seeing those Roaches moving out. His Roach Warren is not quite done yet. 3 more Roaches on the way for our green Zerg player. Those 2 Spinecrawlers should be able to force those Roaches out of here. The Zerglings even coming forth. Going to be doing tons of damage to the Roaches over here. Will the Roaches be able to hold on? Looks like they will, and they will be able to back out of here. A couple of Zerglings chasing after them, and those Roaches will be pulled back all the way across the map. 67 food for the 55 food of Jekko right now. He is getting a... There's 6 drones in production for Jekko and 7 drones in production for Malice. Right now, both players droning up very hard for the late game. The second gas getting taken at the natural expansion. Going to give Malice a grand total of 4 gas. Looks like those Zerglings are going to be coming here, catching a couple of Roaches off guard over here. Going to be able to take a couple of these guys. It looks like a couple of Zerglings reinforcing here will be able to force the red Zerg player out of here. Those Zerglings are going to be retreating, but not before taking out 4 Roaches over there. Spire is now on the way for Malice. Very interesting tech choice here. Usually we see an infestation pit, but he's going to be going for those Mutalisks, and his opponent is going to be caught off guard because he does not yet have infestors out on the field. Those Mutas will be cutting it very close to when those infestors have enough energy to hold them down with that fungal growth. If his opponent decides to go for those infestors, of course. Looks like Queen is on the way for Jekko somewhere. Oh, there she is, going to be popping out at the natural expansion. And there it is, the infestation pit coming down for Jekko at the natural expansion. He's going to have those infestors just barely in time. The Spire is just now finishing. Those Mutas will take, I think, 80 seconds to produce. Let's take a look over here. Mutas cost... looks like 100 seconds to produce, so it's going to be cutting it really close, especially if he decides to grab that pathogen glands upgrade for the infestors. Overlord here checking for a third base. Third base is on the way for Malice, and an Overlord is scooting over here, and it does see the third base on the way. We'll see how he responds. Maybe get a couple of Zerglings out onto the map to harass. The third base is also on the way for Jekko. Spore Callers on the way for Malice up at the front just in case of Burrowed Infestor play. And it looks like 5 Mutalisks are in production for Malice right now. He's throwing up a couple of extra Spine Crawlers over here. Third base is complete for Malice, and the third base is almost done for Jekko, and it looks like those Roaches are going to be coming forth to try to deny that third base. The Zergling's also going to be coming along to play, and it looks like those Mutas are out in the field, will be able to do some damage. Possibly pick off some Overlords here or there. It looks like a couple of Overlords are going to be picked off over here, but it looks like a major confrontation is coming, and it looks like they are targeting down that expansion. The Roaches here doing that scoot and shoot. The Zerglings here engaging in battle. Will they get those? The hatchery looks like they will be able to take the hatchery down. Wannabe Zerglings popping out here. All those Roaches getting taken out. Malice here at a food lead, but he is behind in terms of expansions. The third base over here for Jekko is now mining, and the Muta is going to be cleaning up a bunch of Overlords here. Going to force Jekko to reproduce a bunch of Overlords and perhaps even do damage in the main while there is no Queen over there to defend. The Muta's here cleaning up this Overlord as well. Missile attacks level 2 on the way for our green Zerg player. And Infestors now popping out along with Hydras for Jekko, so he's going to be going for those Hydras to deal with the Muta count. But against enemy Infestors, which will soon be on the way, those Hydras will be very weak. The third base getting taken out by Malice over here. Zerglings waltzing in and targeting that down. He's grabbing his own third expansion right now. More Roaches popping out. Mutas are retreating across the map right now. I wonder if they were able to do any damage over there. Looks like Malice was able to kill 11 workers. 22 Roaches on the way for Jekko, so he's going to be going for it. Hydra's also coming up, so he's going to be banking on this next huge push. He's also taking a third behind this just in case this fails to work. There are Infestors in this mix as well. More Hydras being produced, and those 7 Roaches being reinforcing this army, going to be able to allow Jekko to push really hard right now. Let's take a look at the unit count, and it looks like Malice is ahead in terms of drones. He's got 12 Zerglings to the 6 Zerglings of Jekko. It looks like 30 Roaches from Malice to the 28 Roaches of Jekko. But there are 5 Infestors for Jekko, so that may be able to turn the tide. Pathogen Glands now on the way for Malice. Should be getting some Infestors into that production queue in just a second. Looks like the Hydra's cleaning up the Overlords over here. Going to be advancing across the field, so those Overlords do know about this push. Malice is going to have to defend his third base with his life. He's got not too many units in position over here. Here comes the push. Fungal growth going down. Not all of the Roaches are participating right now, but Malice does get the better concave. Looks like he will be able to push forward. Fungal growth going down, and it looks like the Hydra is going to be doing plenty of damage here. I don't think they actually have the range. And here comes the Roach force from Jekko, going to be pushing in here 1-0 upgrades against the 1-1 upgrades of the Green Zerg player. Looks like it's barely enough to break through. Malice being forced back into his base. He's going to be waiting for more Roaches of his own. The Infestors here from Jekko going to allow him to keep pushing, perhaps even rush into the natural expansion of Malice. Those Infestors do have enough energy for that fungal growth, and he's going to be coming over here and throwing down those fungal growth. It's a very nice hit with the fungal growth over there, hitting some Hydras as well. Going to be able to clean those up even easier. The units from Jekko are extremely weak now. The third base is mining. There's a single Roach over there. A couple of infested Terrans trying to take out a couple of Roaches, but it looks like Malice is going to be able to push through this, kill off all of the enemy units, even frying a couple of Infestors here or there. A Overseer is going to be left here to hang out by that third base. Jekko is falling to 70-ish food, now only climbing back into the 90s. So he's going to have to defend against this next push from Malice. Roach is spreading out, going to be denying this third base and putting some pressure on at the front as well. And here come the Roaches towards that third base, going to the possible third base over here, possibly denying it, but there is no such third base on the way. Looks like the Infestors and the Roaches over here denying the push against that third, and more Roaches on the way for Malice. Groove Spine's on the way for our Red Zerg player to be able to get that Hydra range. A Hydralisk Den is on the way for Malice as well, so he's going to be using some Hydras of his own. He needs to keep in mind that those Hydras can be really weak. The main is mined out for Malice and almost mined out for Jekko. Overlords all queued up over here. A couple of Infested Terrans could actually wipe out those Overlords very easily. Malice hanging out at 146 food to the 123 of Jekko. Those Overlords are going to be waltzing right into the natural expansion here. There is a Spine Crawler going to prevent that kind of slow scouting here. Looks like Jekko here is gearing up for another push. He's made a lot of Hydras now, and looks like he's not going to go for it. 6 Hydras on the way for Malice right now. Jekko getting up his third base, going to be able to saturate that real soon. Transfer some probes over there. A couple of Roaches getting caught out of position from Malice. Looks like one Roach does survive that confrontation. Looks like here comes a big Roach Hydra Infestor push. Going to be rushing over here. Let's take a look at the units tab. It is going to be a 31 Roaches versus 22 Roaches. There's not that many Roaches here, and there's more Infestors for our red player. Hydras also have that superior range, but they are weaker, and here comes a bunch of fungal growths on those Hydras, going to be lowering their life count by quite a bit, but it looks like Malice is forced to back up a little bit in the face of that 1-0 upgrade. Does he have he's got 2-0 upgrades actually, so those Hydras are going to be dealing tons of damage, and it looks like the Roach is also tanking plenty of damage. And Echo looks like he has plenty of Hydras to go around. He's going to be continuing to push forward, taking out a couple of Overlords on the way as well. The Roach is being forced out of here, and it looks like Malice is back on the defensive, even though he has the superior economy. At 53 drones, he's going to be able to push out real soon with a gigantic army, 17 Roaches for each player. And more Hydras for our red player. Looks like he's going to be pushing against this third base. No Spine Crawlers here to be able to help defend. Looks like the Roaches from Jekko are dwindling in number, as are the Hydras. It looks like Malice will be able to defend once again. The Overlords going to be taking a watch overhead. The Hydras here from Malice are cleaning up the remaining units from Jekko, and it looks like a couple of reinforcing Roaches will get pulled out of here as well. NrG's Malice is going to be pushing forth with his army over here. Jekko falling again to 70 food. His third base is in grave danger. A couple of Roaches in position to be able to deal with that, but the Hydras with that superior range and the superior upgrades will be able to clean up these Roaches very easily. And Jekko leaves the game, no GG. It looks like Malice will be able to take this game. It is now tied up 3-3 headed into Game 7 of the grand final match of the American Pro League Season 1. We'll see which player they put up, each team puts up for the final map on Tal'Darim Altar. We'll see you there.